What do you do with your distraction? No, I just started a podcast with him.
I call him Michael.
Yeah.
Down the passage there.
Yeah. So, I wanted to talk about distractions because I've had a lot lately, and I think everyone chilling at home, just parking cheesy when they should be in the office, are definitely having a lot. And like, you can often get distracted from what your goals are, like primary goals, not just like your work in the moment. You know what I mean? And I mean, even just being around your cupboards when your goals is to stay fit. Like now when you go to the office, you get to pre-pack your lunch and like, you know what you're eating for the day, but at home, you just sneak a little muffin or like, you know what I mean?
Does Uber Eats not deliver to your office? Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh no, bro, my fridge delivers to the couch though.
Food on demand. But I think in this current climate, more than ever, distractions are surfacing because whether they be positive or negative, or let me say justified or unjustified, you know, if it is going to the fridge to look and see if anything's changed in the last 5 minutes, or whether it is your kids that have like an issue or you're trying to work at home for some people, I think things are being highlighted, being stuck at home, everything is coming to the fore, positive or negative, and it's about finding balance between those distractions. I mean, you can't just lock your kid in the bathroom. You can, but it's probably not advised. So finding balance when you can take care of them, or things like watching TV and knowing when to do that properly, or knowing when to turn it off and get the work done.
This is a good topic. I think that, like, do you think kids nowadays, like, it's just skyrocketed in terms of them being given Ritalin and things like that to be able to cope with this? Younger people who don't have these conversations around them, or the self-awareness to identify the
everything
distractions.
is drugs. Everything is just the quick
Drugs.
fix.
Drugs.
Everything is drugs.
Are you drugs?
I'm not drugs.
So not everything.
Yet. No, but you know what I mean? Like, everything is a quick fix. And like we did say this in one of our previous podcasts, like, people want gratification now. Like, they want to experience, like, they want to have
stimulation.
exactly what they want now.
Yeah.
So like, when you talk about that, like, now instead of helping your kid, like, you don't have time to do that. You just go to a doctor and they give them a pill and it keeps them to the side. You know what I mean?
I know, but do
Keeps
you
the
think that's the
distractions
right
at bay.
way? Do you think that is the right way that people
No,
should,
it's
that we
not.
should be handling that situation?
Everything, like, this is why we made this podcast, is because everything is a long-term investment. You need to realize nothing is a quick fix. Everything in life comes with a price, you know what I mean? And if you pay the price, you get a greater reward. You know what I mean?
So back to the topic then. So it's back to distractions. So with all these distractions, how do you feel that you're coping with them? Like, what is the best way to try and cope with these distractions then?
So I actually wanted to say, like, Jason and I are very different. Like, I get distracted very easily. Jason has like very strict routine every day, and like, I get distracted easy, but my distractions, I've learned, like, I do get distracted, and like, I try to use them in a productive way. You know what I mean? So like, if I'm sitting on YouTube, I could be, and sometimes like, you can be watching dumb shit and be taking the best out of it. You know what I mean? Like, you're learning, you start taking in like what these people are doing that you could benefit from. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you could be watching a dumb podcast, but take a lot out of it for this podcast. You know what I mean? And realize what you could even take out, what not to do. You know what I mean?
But like, we'll tell you what not to do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like, you can think like that, and like, everything can be taken in a positive or negative way and lead you down like the wrong rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think
or
there's
the right one.
There's a lot of good examples of this where, and probably the worst person to say it because I don't really find myself going into fantasy and things like that in terms of TV shows or books. But people can read a book that's high fantasy, living in a whole nother universe, but they struggle to conceptualize this universe, and that one's more readily available for them. And so they take lessons out of that are in this world, but they need something packaged slightly differently. And so they're getting good value out of something that we would look at as like you passing time, you trying to numb yourself a waste, but they're actually just learning lessons in a different manner.
Yeah, we had this conversation once, which was like a fantasy book, right? And I remember, like, when I was young, I used to read it a lot, and your imagination and your creativity is like just a second away. Like, you can read a paragraph in a fantasy book and you're there. Like, it's almost like you watched a movie, right? And I remember as I grew up, like, you were told, like now you need to, if you're reading books, like, read self-help or like something that's going to progress you in life. You know what I mean? And I did that for a while, and then I went back to fantasy, and I remember I got halfway through a book, right? And I was like, I'm just not picturing it. Like, I can't picture it. And only halfway through, I was like, holy shit, it just hit me. Like,
Came back.
Like, then I started like visualizing everything. And you don't understand how important that is, especially if you like, trying to start a business or trying to come up with new ideas is to stimulate that creative side. Like if you picture an idea, right, how much easier it is to think of an idea and then picture multiple outcomes, or like picture that reality doesn't exist, just like that fantasy book doesn't exist. You know what I mean? So when you start reading these fantasy books that other people might think are stupid waste of time, like Jay said, just to pass time, you actually, if you pick it apart, bro, it is like very, very worthwhile doing. Like you can then picture that reality in business or creating that new product or that thing, and you can picture what people might think of it or what it might turn the world into, something that doesn't exist, just like
so
that.
I'm
You know
sure
what I mean?
for you with music, you must have listened to songs that either are very generic or songs that people don't attach themselves to, and for the most part they're terrible, but there might be a part in it that you like, I really feel something from that, and that sparks an interest in you to write. I'm sure that happens to you as well.
No, definitely. It's like that 121 Pilot song.
Yeah.
It's like, we really hate the beginning, but it makes the next part that
So much better. Yeah.
So you take what you want from it.
Yeah, it's basically you take what you
Picking
want from
the
anything.
right parts, though.
Yeah.
That's what you need to learn to do.
So that's a good thing to do with distractions. Whatever is distracting you, pick the right parts that you're going to absorb, and then apply whatever it is that you're going to do to that.
That's what you need to go into it knowing that it is a distraction.
Yeah.
And now you need to pick apart what, if you are going to waste that time, don't let it waste completely. Like pull out exactly what you need from it. So it's going to pass time. But like now you've learned something. And you've come out better.
And I think more than ever, that's so important to have that focus and understanding of those types of things and how to use your distractions productively, because there are so many things everywhere that often could be taken as brain rots or are brain rots, and you know, like that's not the best distraction, and here's one that offers me somewhat of the relaxation but also provides me some insight.
You do also need that downtime sometimes to be able to just sit down and not...
Jason doesn't get it very often. That's what he finds.
I more than ever know that it's so necessary. I just battle to take it. But it's for sure one of the most necessary things.
Like Jason finishes work where he is just like, I mean, he's working like 3 jobs, and then he goes and reads a book that requires like 100%. Like he's still reading and then having to pick up a dictionary and be like, hey, I need to pick up the dictionary. No, but I mean, not the actual dictionary. I'm sitting there. You know what I mean? Okay, so he will literally read books that require him to research words every 10 seconds. Right after he's finished a 9-hour-long day of just coding and working his job, and you know what I mean? So like, there's not really a downtime except for sleep for him. So it is about learning like that. It is about learning that. So I'm bringing this into Netflix, right?
Okay.
So there's a prime example. So like you can watch, like, I mean, last night, Too Hot to Handle. Like that is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. And I tried to take something away from that, but the only thing I could think of was, these people must make a lot of money off these fucking idiots. You know what I mean? But then getting into a show I introduced Jason to, which was Chef's Table. And like, for anyone watching, you don't have to like food to watch this show. Like,
but it does.
I mean, it does help. It makes you hungry whether you like food or not. Right?
You're the wrong person because you love food.
I love food, yeah. So like, this show, besides the cinematography, besides any of that, like it is mad. Like these people's stories that you learn about, like if you don't think there's something greater than yourself, like guiding you, or like you have a greater purpose in life, right? Just watch a show like this and you'll see these people don't get to the top just because they tried hard. Like there's millions of people who try hard, you know what I mean? Like this one story, this guy, what was his name? Magnus, okay? He's grew up in Sweden, like 5 hours off the beaten track. Like he's middle of nowhere, like whoop whoop, right? Right in whoop whoop, right? Yeah. And he's living in this place where they only get like food, like proper grown food, like 4 months of the year. It's too cold. Like, I mean, you could probably grow a potato there, right?
They just eat
but
ass
no
the rest
flavor.
of the year.
Yeah, they eat ass the rest of the year, right? And this guy has a Michelin star restaurant 5 hours out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do you grow up in that environment to like 18, 19 years old without much taste? Like you're not getting the experience of a New Yorker. You know what I mean? They're getting like the oil, the salt, the sweet, the sour every day. He's not, for fucking half of his life, right? And then he goes and becomes the best chef in the world. Another story, this guy in Brazil, right? Michelin star restaurant. This guy literally grew up on the streets. He was like a bouncer, right? And became a Michelin star restaurant. He goes and hunts for himself. He like literally lives off the land and then becomes a Michelin star restaurant owner. And the one Jason will explain this better than I will, but the guy we watched today, listen to this story.
So this guy,
Wait, one thing. Just what do you think it is about that dynamic? Just so that we don't get off of this point. What do
No,
you think
he's
it is
gonna take you on the
about
it's even
that
better.
dynamic of people who have come from nothing similar and yet have become so successful?
That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
It's like
what is up with
it's
that?
meant to be.
Yeah.
That is
He's been
crazy.
given this opportunity and he could let it slip away, but he's decided no, like it's for him, and everything in his like soul is guiding him to that point.
the one thing that's so interesting
Sorry.
with the way these guys speak, and it will be in the next story, but none of them ever speak, and it might just be for the cameras, but like there was any doubt. It was just, I know where I'm going. We'll make my path to get there. That's essentially what it is. So
Yo, if I'm not number one, then I
Yeah.
failed. That's like all of their like,
mindsets.
yeah, it goes
Crazy.
across the board, bro.
So
Like they are a failure if they are not number one, and they all did it at some point.
It's a lot of pressure on themselves.
Yeah, it is.
But
So, like,
they'll get
self-empowered.
fired from a job, for example, and they won't say like, I got fired from a job, I was never going to cook again. They just thought, what am I doing next? They knew where they were going. It wasn't, they weren't bewildered, they weren't knocked down, oh, I'm going to go just flip burgers in a McDonald's now, that's my chef school. No, they were, what's the next step? And they were taking it.
They
it.
clearly
So-
believe in themselves.
Yeah, so this guy, right?
Beyond.
This is a point I saw across, right? With chefs especially, is the best in the world always get given this point, right? Like if you are a chef and you're striving to be the best, you'll be working for someone, right? For a long part of your life, like 5 to 10 years, maybe more, right? But you will want to be the best. And in that time, you're obviously experimenting on your own and you're trying to make the best dish, right? And these people do. They make a really fucking good dish while they work for someone else. And they show the head chef, and the head chef will usually give them a question. And the question will be, you know, if you put this dish into my restaurant, it's no longer your dish. You can never serve this dish again. It's mine.
It's their IP.
Right? It is now our dish, like the restaurant's. It's not yours.
That's not
it's
right.
mine. No, it is right?
Okay.
Because someone who knows they're always going to succeed, right? Like with music, right? If you got offered by a label, like,
Joss has just done it.
yeah, so you make the best song ever, and the label comes to you, and you know that's not your best song you'll ever make. You fucking creative,
Yeah,
and
true.
you always
100%.
know there's. So
I
his
get you, I
answer
get you.
was, there's a lot more where that came from.
Nice.
That is the mindset of someone that is
Nice.
there to create. It's just something like he knows he's handing this over. He's giving it.
I
to
love it. I love
Fuck
it. This
it.
is why
You
I
know
love
what I
this
mean?
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, so like fuck it, like take my thing. There's a million more where that came from, and that's like something we all
Yeah.
share. And like I'm sure lots of people watching share the same thing, and that's how you know you are going to do something. It's like if you have an idea and you know it's going to succeed, like you know it's going to succeed, you won't keep it all to yourself. You know what I mean? If there's someone who will bring something that you can't to the table, you don't mind giving 50% of that up and saying it's ours, right? Whereas someone that only has one idea and they know that's the only one they'll ever have, I hear it a lot. Like that was my like one and only.
The one that
big,
got away,
that was
yeah.
my big break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I've never heard anyone say that around me because like if an idea passes, I don't even mind if someone steals it because like the next one's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what they do. Is and like the chefs just hand it over. They don't care, and that's like the common trait between all of these Michelin. They've all experienced it.
So is that what
'Cause-
you took? Is that's their common trait between all of them?
Yeah, because
Nice.
they all
Well done.
had to have had that moment. Because who do you show this dish that you think you've made it? You show it to the guy you work for because
Yeah.
you respect him so much. He's either going to like it and say, this is going to go under our thing if it is good enough. And you have to make that choice. Like, is it his or do I take this one dish and go start my restaurant and potentially fail? You know what I mean?
I think what it is creative belief. That's what strings them all together. They have creativity far beyond what we can even conceptualize, and they believe it. They know it for a fact. And so the one that we were going to talk about that we watched earlier was this guy runs his restaurant, and the way they've shot it, it's just this intense restaurant. Food is an experience there.
It's not just taste.
You walk in, and there's just a red hallway, and then there's randomly a door on the side that's meant to be like a hidden door. So as you walk in, you're already feeling so unsettled. You don't know what's going on. They serve food on a pillow of aroma that when you press down, it
While
puts
you're
scent into
eating,
the air.
it's like exposing you to, it like pushes air out. And like, I'm sure lots of people have seen this, but a balloon made of like sugar, like they blow up this helium balloon and it's a floating edible balloon. Like he said to one of his chefs, I need to make something that floats. And he went out and he did it.
That's great customer experience.
Yeah, I know.
The one thing that I found so interesting is he made a tomato look like a strawberry and put it on a plate. So people are expecting a strawberry, they eat it, and then it's
Messes
not.
with your mind.
The rest of the meal, you don't know what's coming.
Yeah,
from you. Is
you
that
don't know what the fuck's coming next, bro.
And everything that you taste thereafter will be, what is this? Because you don't. It might look like that, but it's not. So you're trying to taste exactly what that is, and your whole experience is just being shifted.
No,
but
that's real cool.
It gets to a point, and this guy starts talking about his life, and he said when he was starting up his business, he's noticing this white spot on his tongue.
No, but he was already number one. He had made #1 restaurant in America, right? And because of the stress, this is where it got to.
He was building that. So he was with his other partner, was like getting into, he was working 18-hour days. And he said his tongue started swelling up. He couldn't taste. And he eventually went somewhere and it was cancer, stage 4. And
his mouth, so firstly, what are the chances you're a chef? And then not just the chef,
I've
right?
heard this before.
Not just, I think I might have told you this story once upon a time.
Okay.
So not just the chef, but the best chef in America, right? And this happens not on your arm, not on your foot, not on your liver, not on your kidney, your tongue. Like, what are the chances?
And all he said was, instead of saying,
it's crazy.
That's it, he thought food is no longer just about the taste. Now it's about the experience. So he took something so adverse and went creative. His creativity just sparked beyond. So he wasn't thinking, oh, my creativity is only in taste. His mind started running, where is it else? And he grew this, and his taste started coming back, so he got a bit of that back. But what he had built because of that, because of the adversity, because of his creativity,
his mindset completely on his head.
Was something so different.
He said, taste, the experience of food isn't just here, it's here. And you can take that across anywhere. It's not just where you feel it, it's always here or here. You know what I mean?
Music is not just here.
It's here. Exactly. It's here.
And although food is an art, creativity spans far beyond that. Like being creative in life or in business, you can think of something that's so unnecessary, but so creative, and it just changes the whole market. So for example, we're talking about Michelin star restaurants. Do you know why they are Michelin star restaurants?
Wow.
So Michelin is the tire company, right?
Yes.
They made the Michelin star guide, and it was made to get people to drive to restaurants that they would use their tires.
Wow.
So it was made.
How fucking creative is that, bro?
Wow.
Dude.
It was
when
made.
He told me this, I didn't believe him. I was like, that sounds stupid.
They did it in France.
That is next level.
Yeah, they did it in France when there was only 3,000 cars on the road, and they thought there's not a lot of cars. We need to sell tires. So how do we get people to go? So they made a guide of French restaurants that were really good and put them in petrol stations and things like that. So as people were picking them up, I really want to try that. So they would drive further.
Wow.
And they would use more rubber on their tires.
Dude, imagine the thought process of the marketing team that did that. Fuck.
Yeah, no.
Give them a bell.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So your creativity can expand far beyond what you even think it is, or things. We all think, we might be creative, but we always box ourselves in. We're creative to what the industry says.
But we also,
should be.
we're also creative to the limitations that we set in our own heads. Because, like you say, those guys must be creative beyond. But the thing is that we all very creative. We just hinder our own potential with negativity in our own heads.
It can also be surroundings. Like I was saying, that guy who got the cancer, his first restaurant he worked at, he thought, am I choosing the right industry? Because the chef told him he kept fucking up. And now if you're told to make boiled eggs every day, right? And you keep making them a little hard and not medium, right? And that's all you've been told to do. Eventually you'll be like, fuck, I'm not a good chef. I can't do that. And you would never know that all you just needed to do was get extra creative. You know what I mean? You just block yourself, whether it's graphic design. You've been given this degree to study for 4 years, and now that's a box that you fit into. Now you go work for a company that just needs logos done that look like this, and you just not getting the edges rounded because you just want to draw outside the lines. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now you told you're a bad graphic designer, but you need a salary. You told it for 5 years. It's in your head. You're told by a company that you respect very much, like you've dreamed of this company, and they're like, you suck because you don't fit in our box. It doesn't mean you're a bad graphic designer or a bad chef or a bad musician even. Imagine you're in a band and you just don't play punk rock, and you're in a punk rock band and they're like, you should, right? Because you want to do classical. You could be the best classical musician in the world.
100%. I would say to people who are trying to find their best creative side or best creative process, to create without any expectation. So don't predetermine an outcome, and don't let any opinions, as well as yourself, affect where that creative process goes. Because I can tell you the same thing with music. I will make 5 shit songs and then make another 5 shit songs and then hit a good one. And I can't let the 10 that I did before that stop me before I get to that one.
Yeah,
you know,
or
but
change
it's
your
still
opinion
there.
of the 11.
Yeah. So just keep going at whatever it is that you're trying to
If you
create.
feel it,
If
if
you
you
feel
love
it,
it,
keep going
something
at it.
good's gonna
And
come. Yeah,
something will stick.
something good's gonna come.
And
Not
that-
all of them are going to stick, but one will.
Yeah, and that's what I've always tried to say to you as well, is that you have to learn the lessons in life. You're going to make crap songs. So get them out of the way early.
Yeah.
Learn from those early. Because if you need to make those 10 songs before you can make one good one, you can either take 10 months to make 10 shit songs, or you can take 10 days to make 10 shit songs,
Yeah.
and then on the 11th day, you're making a good song.
Yeah,
Get it
and
out of the
enjoy
way.
the process.
Enjoy it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And also, I think with creativity, such an important part is taking creative inspiration from things that you might view as less than or not as experienced, or there's people that are making music or doing stuff in business that are below what you think, and you think, oh, I can only learn from the guy that's above me. Of course, there's so much to be learned by chatting to everyone. You can learn a lesson from anyone. And for me, what I've noticed is that a lot of people that have employees or people that they work with, chat to them, find out what's going on, because I guarantee you they're suppressing something because they're in a box. And if you let that open, your business or whatever you may do is going to expand way beyond what you thought was possible, and motivate them.
yeah, they're not working in that job because they don't like it. They're working in it because they enjoy it. And if you help that grow, it's only going to benefit your business. You know what I mean?
It's all, like we said from the beginning, it's all about what you absorb and apply and what you choose to absorb. So don't absorb shit.
Yeah, it's with Michael as well. I mean, who would have thought that he would be this photographer, videographer extraordinaire with no professional training? But I'm serious. And if someone is in a different type of business to him, and they would never question that, or Michael would tell them because it's Michael, but they wouldn't ask him what he can do. And he might have this talent there that could help product development or shooting the product and enhance it so much. But because they don't want to ask him because he's just the guy that's meant to be doing this, they'll never get that growth and that experience from it.
Well, I hope I don't need to answer to any whatever. But
Yeah. And with
Let's take your process, for example. I mean, Mark's taken a lot of shit photos.
that is, bro, I was going to reference it just now. I'm glad you brought it up. But like, how many shit photos? Like,
Exactly.
you're that shut it down. Like, you know what I mean? And only
The
one
problem
of them
is
is
that
going to
he
be
thought
good.
they were good.
yeah.
All of them. I took
Look.
100 good photos.
This is why he keeps me around. My eyesight's so bad. He was just,
Jessica,
I'm just-
amazing. Just say it's good.
it's excellent. I can't see shit. But I promise you, it's the best photo that I can see right now.
I've never seen better in my whole life.
I'm not a liar. Like,
Yeah,
that's all I can
I've
say
actually
to you.
never seen a photo before.
Yeah, you'll notice Jason never puts his glasses on when he looks at your photos.
He checks his contacts out.
Best thing I've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
Right, let's check it out.
Let's start. Good.
But with you as well, I mean,
See, he's taking what he wants from
Yeah.
it.
guys, don't expose me like
Oh,
that.
fuck.
I might need to use this later on. But with you as well, I mean, you've taught yourself so much in terms of like analytics and sponsorship and those types of things. And someone could just glance straight over that and not know those expertise that they'll just say, oh, he's just a singer.
That's why I'm glad we're also doing this podcast, because it gets to also show a bit of the journey that I've been on, because I've indulged in a lot of different markets, a lot of
Yeah,
different.
no one knows you
things.
started fucking 20 businesses
Yeah.
while you were a
So
singer.
that's
You
why
know
I'm
what I mean?
excited for all these episodes.
It's so weird. But it
is.
is nice because even we thought like you're just a singer. You know what I mean? And now we're on a podcast together, like chatting shit.
And making
We're
money
not
from it.
singing. We're not all singing. Thank God we weren't all fucking duetting something. Eh?
Yeah, we wouldn't make money.
Karaoke time.
You guys are making money.
Yeah. Luckily, we watch the analytics.
Yeah, don't give him the password. Nah.
Jason, these episodes are crap. We're just going to push through it. We got like 1 or 2 viewers. We're
Yeah.
just going to push through it. I'm just like, shit, guys. It's just for the passion. That's all it's about. Mark, that's a nice new car you've got there, bro.
We're both wearing Budweiser shirts and the Budweiser. Yeah, Jason's story.
Hey, Jace.
Do they do button ups?